Behind the walls of America's largest maximum security prison, a father waits for the moment that could change everything.
I was nervous because we hadn't seen each other physically since she was 6 years old, and my mind was still that little girl.
The reunion is thanks to a daddy-daughter dance, an event hosted by an organization called God Behind Bars to help incarcerated dads rebuild bonds with their kids.
My belief is that before we can change the mind, we've got to change the heart. And what better way than to reunify these individuals with their children and ultimately allow their kids to capture their heart and allow them to realize some of the things that they're missing out on, which can be painful, but it's a beautiful pain.
Before the dance, 29 fathers suited up, some for the first time in their lives.
They got to see who they truly were. And you would never think that a tuxedo would do that. Like, you know, the man makes the suit doesn't make the man, but this case, it allowed them to see who they really were. Yep.
That was my first time ever getting dressed up like that. As I looked in the mirror, it made me think about everything up until then. You know, life lessons that, you know, I miss, life lessons that I'm learning. It made me think about a thousand things. You know, it made me regret.
On the day of the dance, Dion's mom drove Gianna, his now 17-year-old daughter, to Angola.
She was excited. She smiled from the time we got up that morning. We had about an hour and a half drive to get to there. She was 6 when she last saw him, so it had been 10 years since she seen him.
And when Dion finally turned around, the moment hit harder than he ever expected.
It caught me off guard to see how beautiful she really is. She looked just like her mom. So many emotions came through my feelings, and my feelings led to me to burst out and crying. I ain't cried like that in a long time. A lot of bottled up feelings and emotions came out at that one moment.
Inside a classroom turned ballroom, it became a night of firsts. First hugs, first dances, and memories they will carry forever.
To physically be in the room and watch the daughters standing on their dad's shoes and they twirl them around, and being in the room that looked like a wedding, a ballroom, and to know that Angola is supposed to be one of the worst of the worst. I don't recall seeing a guard in the vicinity of our building. This is what rehabilitation looks like. It's what redemption looks like.
I actually cried myself to sleep that night because it was such a touching moment to see them embrace each other, and he broke down and she never stopped smiling.
For many of these fathers, this wasn't just a reunion, it was a catalyst. A moment where they realized it wasn't too late to grow, change, and be the men their daughters still need.
Yes, some of them have done horrific things, but my belief is that if you can show these individuals that they have purpose, that they have value, that there is ultimately worth in their life, which many of them have not been shown, that ultimately they will live up to that.
This moment will stay with me forever. Now that I look at the mirror, that what I'm transitioning to be, I want to be the man that I want for her.